I'm enjoying the game now. I want to play all the time, and you know, it's fun. I mean, golf now is fun for me. I look forward to playing. I look forward to practicing. I look forward to sending videos into the coaches, getting feedback, little tweaks, and just been a phenomenal experience. Love it. So my problem before I started the single plane swing was not one problem. It was many problems. I mean, it was just mainly inconsistency. You know, one day I would shoot, you know, a decent score. I may have broke 90 a couple of times, and that would have been a good day for me, but just super inconsistent. There would be days that I would hit some good shots, you know, maybe shoot a decent round, and then there'd be other days where I couldn't hit a ball. Like I would shank everything. The shanks were the big thing for me. Pushing the ball right, shanking the ball, duff it, you know, hitting the ball fat constantly. That was annoying, like to the point where my hand would hurt. So, you know, I just wasn't a really good golfer at all. And, you know, I put time into it. You know, I took lessons many a times, spent a lot of time at the range. You know, I would swing in my yard, you know, put two tees down in the yard and try to swing through them. Like I would work at it, and nothing was working. So what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, and, you know, expecting a change. So for me, I was like, hey, you know, I'm on the fence, but nothing else has been working, so I'm gonna go on this side of the fence, Graves Golf Academy, and just make a decision. And when you make that decision, commit to it. You know, that's the biggest thing, is you have to commit to it. And if you commit to it, you're gonna see results, I promise you. No doubt about it. If you follow what they teach you, you're gonna see results. It's just a matter of time. So one thing I really love about the academies, it's not just about the swing, you know, the full swing. It's about the short game as well. There's a lot of information and content in there that's been really useful. You know, how to hit out of a bunker, how to chip, how to putt. All of these things are just super important for your game, and that's one of the main reasons why my handicap dropped so dramatically, is because I was able to go in there and learn how to, you know, learn how to chip and putt, learn how to read putts, you know, hazard or conditions where, you know, maybe you're in the rough, or again, bunker shots. Most people hate going in the bunkers. I enjoy it now because I know how to do it, and I get a good result when I'm in the bunker. Not that I try to go in the bunker, obviously, but when I'm in there, I'm not panicking. And so, again, information on the short game, just the, you know, everything's in there. But for me, the short game is something that there's just not a lot of information out there that is, you know, is very helpful. So I love it. I love going in there and working on my short game, being able to find whatever it is I need, and it's been super helpful. What surprised me the most inside of Graves Golf Academy is, you know, when I send a video into coaches, just the knowledge these guys have. I mean, they're able to see things that I'm like, oh man, I didn't even notice that. You know, in my swing mechanics or my grip. You know, early on there was a lot of things I was working on, but you know, now that I've got it down pretty good, still making little tweaks. You know, we're always working for perfection. And again, if pros are using coaches, you know, I'm going to use them. So the coaching is just second to none. I mean, it's so helpful, and they tell you, you know, make sure you send videos in. That was very surprising to me. Is like, you know, they're super adamant about making sure that you're getting helped. Like, they don't want you to be a part of it if you're not going to use it. And you know, that was kind of odd to me. You know, they're not just trying to take my money. They really, truly care and want me to get better. And they're, you know, sending your videos. They're not sending in enough videos, you know, are you practicing? And you know, just holding me accountable. And I just absolutely love that. It's awesome. So it's been about a year, I think maybe a little longer than a year since I've, you know, been working with the single plane swing. Prior to, I, you know, may have broke 90 a few times. My handicap, if I had to have a handicap, it'd probably be, you know, somewhere around 20 maybe. My handicap's lowered to 7.1 as we speak. And I live in Pittsburgh, so it's not like I get to golf all year round. But again, I mean, it's just being able to learn every aspect of the swing. They're able to qualify the golf swing. You know, Todd knows, like he proves it through biomechanics. There's just so much knowledge and information on why the traditional golf swing is super hard to learn and why it doesn't work for most people, and why the single plane golf swing is simplified and will work for you if you just, you know, put what you're learning to use. Tim, with his short game knowledge, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it really is. Like, I've never seen so much information on the short game, and to be able to take that information, put it to work, and use it in my own game, and see that it actually does work. These guys are just geniuses. I mean, they really are. So, super blessed to be a part of this academy and have Tim and Todd Graves, you know, at the forefront of it. It's just, they're just awesome people and super, super knowledgeable.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Harper, and I went single plane approximately 22 years ago. That's when I started. I saw an article about Mo Norman in the Golf Digest, and it said nobody knows what Mo knows. So I read that, and I was quite interested. So I started playing around with it for a few years. So I went to the school with my oldest son, and we both kind of fell in love with the single plane. 3 months after I went to the school, I got my first hole-in-one. So that really enticed me to go completely with the single plane. Well, I've had some medical issues and bad back, so that put me out of commission for a while. So I had to, the only way I could swing was with the single plane. I could not do conventional golf anymore, so I was completely single plane. It's the only way I could swing the club. And I noticed as I got a little older, I was still maintaining the distance that I had when I was younger. So I really liked that. I was more consistent and enjoyed the game just tremendously. The schools are great. Boy, it's really evolved, but it's improved tremendously. And I really love the on-demand, and I'm a gold member and have been for quite a few years. And I really like the coaches, that I can send something in and they'll watch my video and get me back on track. And the coaches I've met, Trent and Clay, have done an excellent job with me. So I've talked 4 of my friends into coming to the Graves Golf Schools. One that lives in St. George, and she loved it, absolutely. And 2 that live in Idaho Falls, and they loved it. And then the greatest thing I did come back this year was to be with my son and his son. So we have 3 generations here learning the single plane. Well, the most noticeable improvement with the single plane for me was hitting a lot more fairways, more consistent in the takeaway and in the swing in general. It lowered my scores quite a bit. I got down to a 5 handicap for many, many years and played in a lot of tournaments, won quite a few, and got high rank in quite a few other ones, and it's just really enjoyed it. And a lot of my friends thought I was crazy switching because I was pretty good conventionally, but I wanted that consistency and the one setup, and I didn't have to listen to multiple pros telling me this and that and changing my mind. So I just stayed with it because I love the idea of one model to go with. That's what I did. And here I am. I love it. It works. It's simple. My friends all know how simple it is because they watch me as I take their quarters or whatever. We have some small little bets and we have a great time with it. I want to get up every day. I love to practice and I love the game, and I just really look forward to every day that I can go play.
Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the first 2025 Plane Talk. I want to welcome you guys to the 2025 with Graves Golf. I want to thank you guys for being part of what we do here at Graves Golf, and in particular I want to thank all the members out there, all the Single Plane Academy members that work with us all the time. I know a lot of you guys have been working with us for the last couple months in the winter training. Obviously a lot of you guys have been with us for years and years and years and so on. And so I want to thank you guys for being part of Graves Golf, and I'm really excited about the new year. We can't wait to be rolling in 2025. Before we get, today's going to be a Q&A session, so we're going to get rolling on this. Before I get going on that though, like normal, I want to do a couple announcements, and now that we're into 2025, I want to get really rolling into these announcements. And before I even get there though, I hope everybody home had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I know we just got through all that. I know this is actually right now, it's January and February tend to be the coldest months across the country. I know for those in the United States, I know we talked to a lot of people in Australia and overseas, and I always get the comments on there, hey, I'm sitting in 80-degree weather. Well, I'm glad and happy for you, but a lot of us are sitting in cold weather, so we're still doing a lot of indoor training, a lot of indoor work and so on this time of year, but we're getting ready to kick off the spring. In fact, here in 2 weeks, actually 2.5 weeks, we'll be rolling into our first schools. We got Phoenix coming up, we got Orlando coming up, and we'll talk about those here in a second. I want to announce that, but like normal, this time of year, the biggest announcements for us, the 2 biggest ones, is number 1 is the new clubs are out. They're out. The new clubs you guys are starting to hear about them. You see them in Hawaii over in the Sony Open. You see all the players playing them over there, whether it's Xander, all the guys, out there, playing with these clubs. The new Elite clubs are out, the Callaway Elite. And we are going to start taking pre-orders here in the next couple days, okay? In fact, we are taking orders now. I'm keeping them on file, and then I'm going to start putting them in Callaway here in just the next few days. So if any of you guys are interested, and I've got it right here. In fact, a lot of you, I'm sure this is to be released now. We've been having to hold off on this, but this is the new Elite driver. It's out. I'm not going to talk a lot about it right now because you can go on our website and you can see all the information. I went out to Callaway last month and shot with all the engineers, all the marketing people. We spent a day and a half out there filming, from drivers to fairway woods to hybrids to irons. We filmed them all. And we went through all the mechanics of them. We went through everything in them. And are they longer than last year's clubs? Yes. I mean, they have to be. That's the point of them, is that the club that's created this year has to be longer than last year's. Is it more forgiving? Yes. Does it have a bigger MOI, a bigger sweet spot? Yes. Do I already have hundreds and hundreds of people that have contacted me wanting them? Yes. Okay. So the biggest thing right now, and they are a beautiful club. They're a gorgeous club. I mean, the big thing that Callaway did with the Callaway Elite is they put Ely Callaway is the founder of Callaway, and they put his name in this club. So that's why it's spelled, don't call me up, don't email me and say they spelled Elite wrong. No, there's two reasons why they did this, and it's kind of interesting. The reason why they came up with this name was, number one, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but last October or last November of last year, Xander Schauffele went in and redid his entire team. He actually went in and he had won his majors, and he'd come in and he said, I want to take the game to the next level. And so he actually hired a new trainer. He hired a new golf coach. He did his whole, in fact, he even let his dad go. I mean, his dad was part of his management team, and he even changed that, okay? But when Callaway asked him why he did that, he said, because I want to become an elite player. He said, you guys, a lot of people consider me a good player, a great player. I want to become an elite player. So that kind of stuck in their head. And then when they heard that, and then they said, okay, we're going to come up with this new product. And they were really excited about the technology that was put in this product, because it was AI on steroids in this product. They wanted to put Ely Callaway's name in it. And that's how they did it. So that's where the Callaway Elite came from. Those two things was from Xander saying, I'll be an elite player, and Callaway, Ely Callaway. I always say Eli, but it's Ely Callaway, and his name's in that. But get on our website. You can see tons and tons of information on there. If you go to the club section on our website on gravesgolf.com, you can see all about the drivers, my interviews with all these engineers and so on. But more importantly, if you're interested in the new product, timg@gravesgolf.com, timg@gravesgolf.com. And like normal, and I'd say like normal, but this is what happens every year. Right now is the highest trade-in values for the product, whether it's a newer product that you had for a year, 2 years, 5 years. In the end of January, every year, the trade-in values take the biggest hit. Guys, the trade-in values are updated every month, okay? And it's a supply versus demand. Well, when the new product comes out, people want to get the new product. They want to trade in last year's product, the product the year before, whatever. They want to trade it in. Well, as soon as more and more of that product comes in, those trade-in values go down and down and down. So the quicker you get in, if you want to trade in clubs, the quicker you want to get these new ones, we can get a really good deal. So I got intro offers on these, introductory offers, a few dollars off what you see on the website. They're custom fit for you, perfect for length, angle, shaft flex, grip size, for you and your single plane swing, okay? And obviously I can get you really high trading values. Now, if you've never gone through our fitting system or what we do in fittings online and so on, email me at timg@gravesgolf.com. Please email me ASAP and I'll open up a dialogue with you, okay? That's enough said on that. I'm sure I'll talk a lot more about these in upcoming months and so on. You guys can go self-educate yourself on our website. You can do all that, and I want you to do that because I got tons of information. I can literally give 3 or 4 webinars, which I might in the future, all about these clubs. They're phenomenal clubs, okay? When I was out there with Callaway, there were some touring pros out there. And I'll let James talk about the one that was out there, because it's a Mr. Canadian was out there, and they were hitting them and getting the new clubs in their bag, and they were comparing them to the previous year's clubs, and they were getting longer, they're getting more accuracy, they're getting less dispersion, and they were really excited about them. And we saw it firsthand. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to bring in James Bell. James is our school manager, and James is walking on the camera now. He should be set up. He thinks he has to put on his mic, but he doesn't, because the guys take care of it for him. Okay, so anyway, James is the school manager for me, and James actually does a lot of fittings with me. He's a master fitter, has been a master fitter for years and years and years. We won't go into that though, so he went up. But
it's a long story.
Tell him a little bit about our pro out at that we've spent time with out at Callaway.
Oh, Mr. Hadwin.
Yeah.
Adam Hadwin.
Adam Hadwin. It was
Happy New Year, everybody, by the way. Hope you had a great holiday season.
So yeah, Adam Hadwin was out there, and they actually brought him in, and we were going through all our stuff and talking to the engineers and looking at the clubs and seeing the clubs. Adams was right next to us being fit. And he was working on the driver and a fairway wood. And how many fairway woods do you think he hit that in that? It was like about 100?
Thereabouts.
Because he immediately, even in the fairway woods, he said they got like 2 or 3 miles an hour faster just the way the new fairway wood was built.
Yep.
So just swing speed itself was faster, plus it was faster off the face. So they told us when we walked in that, and that was raw. I mean, this was as raw data as if you could see. I mean, it was data that we were watching it get. They said he was getting 10 to 15 yards just with the fairway wood.
It was interesting to watch him hit too, because originally he was warming up. He had his own clubs. He was hitting his own irons. He hit his own fairway woods. And next thing you know, he grabbed one of the new Elite fairway woods and he hit it. And there was a pause because it was a different sound.
Right.
And the ball it took off.
Right.
And he sort of looked over at the tech guys. Yeah. He goes, well, just wait a minute. He walked around the corner. He looked at numbers. Of course, he's got his guy standing there telling what the numbers are. I don't think he believed them.
No, he didn't.
And then he walked back. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
He hit another couple. He goes, Goes back and he grabs his, another one with his. And it was funny because there was a pause. He hit his and he goes, now that was a good one.
Right.
And his tech was going, yeah, that's probably the best number you've hit. And then he went back and he grabbed the Elite again and he hit the new Elite and he's going, oh my.
Yeah.
And he looked over again and it was like, yeah, the numbers were, and they started
guys,
talking.
they have all the raw data.
God.
I mean, this is done with AI technology and it's incredible. I mean, it's years and years of research on it and so on. But it's always amazing. They have all the script written about and everything else. But when you have the pro come in, he's standing right next to you and he's never hit him.
No.
He never even saw him. So we saw him before he did. And he's getting him in the bag to go up and go out to Hawaii and play in the events, get him fit up for him. And you watch his expression. And then they had him come talk to us for a few minutes afterwards. He came in and he was just like, this stuff is crazy good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to the best. And yes, but here's the interesting about Elite. I didn't bring James up here to talk about this, but Elite is with real players' data. And this is the biggest thing. We're talking, they don't use the pros. They use the pros data, yes, they throw it in there. But 99% of the data they put in the AI for the technology for this is with data just like your guys at home. They're putting that data in.
From all their fitting centers.
For all their fitting centers, everything, the stuff we enter, the stuff everybody else enters, and they use that to create these clubs. And guys, again, I don't want to go into more than that because you can go on the website and see it, and the engineers talk to us for literally for hours about it. But it's great stuff.
We asked a question when we were upstairs. I don't know if this is going to make the videos or not, but we talked about all this data that they're putting into.
Right.
He says, and I forget the number. It was like they have 50 guys that are writing code.
Yeah.
That are just putting the code and the data into the computer so they can crunch the numbers.
Well, I found this out that there's on the face, and I think I'm going to see if I can get this right. There's 10,000 more data points they put into this face than they did the time before.
21,000 data points.
Data points in this face. It's crazy the way they did this. But Callaway, people always ask, always stick with Callaway. Because the technology of Callaway, because guys, we do it all. We research it all, trust me. I mean, I get it all. And you don't think the other companies want to do work with us? I mean, we're the #1 seller of Callaway product in the world. You don't think the other companies know this and want to start getting in here? But the problem is they just can't get this technology. Now, I'm not saying they won't match this technology in 5 years, 10 years. I don't know. I mean, maybe some club will come out in 10 years from now that'll blow this technology away. Well, we're going to get you guys the best club out there, for the best price we can and custom fit. But right now, Callaway just is leading technology. So it's really not even close. It's really not even close. So, but I brought James up here. So guys, we'll talk more about that later, not in this webinar, we'll talk more about it. But if you're interested in the new Elite product, let me know again and we'll talk about it. I'll set up a dialogue with you. Let's get back to schools. All right, so now I'm just gonna throw this out, then I brought up James to talk to you guys for 2 seconds here. The calendar is out. It's out through, I believe, May through May, okay? We added a June short game school and AI school, but it's already sold out. So don't be expecting another one of those very soon because both of them are already sold out.
Sold out
right.
A week.
In a week. But you see, we're starting literally in 2 weeks, we're starting down in Orlando, and then basically three weeks from now, we're starting down in Phoenix, okay? Now, one thing I'm gonna mention, and I'm gonna have James talk to you guys. If you're looking to get into an early school and not be there with a full school so you get more one-on-one attention, I'm talking a lot more one-on-one attention, come to the early Phoenix schools. Those tend to always fill up, or they sometimes don't even fill up early. The only schools we have in the given year typically that don't fill up are early. We don't know why. I don't know why, but it's the January and the early February Phoenix schools.
Yeah.
Orlando will book up. Oklahoma City will book up, and they obviously don't start till March. But for some reason, whatever the reason is, the early Phoenix schools, and guys, the weather is phenomenal out there. James and I were just out there. We've been out there twice. It's phenomenal.
The grass is greener.
No, it's actually greener out there because they overseed everything. It's beautiful. And the short game area is crazy good. Okay, I mean, it's unbelievable. And we have an indoor academy. So it literally, if you get cold out there or something were to happen, we're inside. Okay,
And with a limited class, everything will be inside.
Everything, yeah. But if you're looking to get early instruction, more one-on-one attention with our master instructors, come to Early Phoenix. I cannot stress that enough. Get in now, okay? But I want James for just a couple minutes to talk about the combination of putting memberships and schools together. Because I've talked to James about this, but he talks to you guys every day about this.
Yep.
So I want him to talk about that just for a couple minutes here. So basically, if you call us up and say, I want to sign up for a golf school, what's a 3-day school, 5-day camp, whatever it is, and you're not a member, okay? Now, if you're a member, you're getting serious member discounts. I mean, you're getting sometimes $300, $400, $500, $600, sometimes up to $800 off these schools. And we have double members discounts. We have all kinds of stuff that goes on for you members out there. And you guys know that. So Single Plan Academy members, level 3, level 4, level 5, obviously you're getting huge discounts on these things. Okay, but if you're not a member and you sign up for a school, I want James to explain this to you. Explain what you tell these guys on the phone and how you offer it to them.
The first conversation, the conversation goes, hey, I want to come to school. Are you a member? No. Okay. So the pricing of the school is $24.99 for a 3-day school. Right. So member discount on that is $300 off that.
Right. So right now you're already down to
$21.99.
Okay.
So the next question, or the next part of the conversation, gets down to how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? If you're really serious about taking on this training and want to get better, and that's the big thing, I want to get better, is I will start you on within the on-demand. I'll get you into at least a level 3 membership, which right now is $6.99. So just keep that number in the back of your head for a second. So we'll get you into a membership. We start looking at the on-demand, and I start you down the road of learning and understanding the vernacular and everything we're going to try and teach you at the school. So I'm already going to get you ahead of the game before you even show up to the school. Yep. Then I'm going to get you into the resets that are in there. There's 3 of them in there. The first one I'm going to get you to take is the Single Plane Reset, which is a 30-day guided program. So again, you are going to get ahead of everyone else who has not come to a school. Right. So we start you with that training first. We're going to pair that all together. Normally, if you look at that, I did my math earlier in my head. My brain is fried right now. $2,700 and $700, $3,400. And right now I'm putting the package together. If you buy a school at $24.99, round it up $2,500, add 200 is $27. I put that package together, so you're going to save more than the price of just the membership alone.
Well, here's the deal.
But here's the important part. Right. Money aside, you're going to get so far ahead before you get to the school, and then the follow-on after the school is where the bread and butter is.
So the key on this is, don't just sit there and you look at the school schedule. That's why I brought James up here. You're not just looking at the school schedule and say, okay, do I want a 3 or 5 day school? And which one of those do I want to come to? And here's the price. Understand that everything we do here is about follow-up after that school. Like I always say in a 5-day camp, the most important day is day 6, day 7, day 10, day 20. In the 3-day school, the most important day is day 4, day 5, day 20, day 50. We want to continue your improvement forever. But in particular, right after you leave that school and quickly after that, when you're excited and you got all this new information. Well, the only way you can do that very efficiently and effectively, where you're getting the most out of it, is having continual contact with our coaches. Whether you're through emails, we're looking at watching on demand, whether watching instructional video. I mean, yes, you get some follow-up after our schools. You get some basic emails that come out, some follow-up videos that talk about the instruction with the schools. It's really good, responders and autoresponders that come out to you guys about the school. But it's nothing like going on our on-demand site and getting a full access of all the information. I mean, think about it. You come to a school and you have a coach saying, I need you to work on your grip and your setup and you're missing position 2. And you walk away from the school and you jump on our on-demand and you type in position 2 in the search engine, or you type in grip in there, and all of a sudden 25 videos pop in and you can start going through those videos and start saying, okay, there's some more instruction, Then you can send in videos to our coach, which is the simplest thing in the world, and check, is my grip getting better? Is my setup getting better? Is position 2 getting better? Whatever you're working on. That's everything. But more importantly, and that's why I brought James in here, is understand, if you sign up for a March school right now and you become a member, which is only a couple extra bucks more, it's just literally a couple extra bucks. You're saving a ton of money because you're getting that discount up front on the school and the membership. Now you got a couple months of stuff to work on before you come to the school. So you can now, you're getting ready to come into the school. You should not come into the school blind. You all of a sudden, you're watching the on-demand, you're watching our videos, you're seeing our private webinars, you're seeing all that. And that is massive. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are involved in this. I mean, probably 80% of you guys out there are probably commenting on this right now. You already do this or you've done this. But there's a lot of you guys that have never come to a school and you're thinking about it. That's what this is all about. It's just not about coming in for 3 days or 5 days. That's not what it's about. It's about getting information for you before the school and some really solid information. And then the follow-up after the school is massive, okay? Yep. But then to top all that off is James is gonna get you in, if you sign up for the schools and you choose to become a member, he's gonna get you in for a discounted membership that you grandfather into from then on.
Yep.
So you never gonna go up for it. That discounted, that grandfathered membership price is good forever, as long as you stay a member. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted James, you guys understand that? So if you look to sign up for a school and you're not a member, we're always going to sit there and say, hey, you may want to look at level 3. You know, it's a middle membership. It's not the high end, but it gives you all this information pre and post school to help you. And that's what this is all about. Yeah. Guys, you may look at a school, I mean, we hear this all the time, and whether it sounds good or bad, you know, this is my bucket list, I want to come to school, I've always wanted to do this, okay? That's not the way we look at schools. We look at schools at the start of your journey,
yes,
or the continuation, if it's your second school or third school or fourth school. And we have guys that have been to, I mean, in here, James is sitting here, so you guys all sit there and say, I exaggerate this.
31.
What's that?
Top guy's 31.
31 schools. Our top guy right now has been to 31 schools, okay? How many guys have been to 15, 20 schools?
Too many to count.
Yeah, too many to count. Guys, see, this is the thing. How many guys, I mean, guys, this is not, 31 schools, because they're continuation of improvement. They get better and better and better and better and better. That's why they keep coming to schools. This is why you guys see some of these schools are so hard to get into, because they sign up so fast for them. Okay?
The guys will come in, and the guys that are coming back to the schools are saying, I wish you had said that the first time. And I'm going, we did.
Right.
And this is where we talked about it. They're going, yeah, I just didn't hear it.
Right.
I wasn't ready yet. Right. I didn't hear it.
So, and the other thing is get in as early as possible, because yes, we know you want to get your golf season going, but our goal at a golf school, and it's just what it is, our goal is to make you uncomfortable. And what I mean by uncomfortable is we're making changes in your swing, we're making changes in your short game, we're making changes in your mental game, we're making changes in how you practice, we're making changes in how you approach the golf game. Well, when you make changes, things become uncomfortable. It takes a little bit of time to get them comfortable again, okay? It's just the way it is. And so we want to give you guys enough time that you can go into your golf season and play good golf. Don't just come into this thing, in April and say, I want to play great golf by May. It's probably not going to happen. But you give it a couple months, 3 or 4 months, it will, okay? It will. And then you become in part of our system. And when you become part of our system, now all we're doing is continually, how do we get them better? How do we get them better? How do we get them better? What information?
Continual education.
Right. And guys, every bit of our information is put on demand. So if you don't have access to our on-demand or single plane on-demand app, which is our single plane on-demand instruction, if you don't have access to that, you're missing out on 99% of the stuff we teach. 99% of it. Yeah. And that's all part of your membership. And that is such a massive part if you come to one of our schools.
I mean, you're going to come to the school. I mean, everything that we teach is, like you said, it's on the on-demand. We're not going to tell you anything new.
No.
But the big difference is we're going to be able to put our hands on you,
of course,
and get you in the right position. And then the follow-on after the school is the last thing I want, is to someone to come to the school and we get them into, all of a sudden their addressing grip was terrible. We get them a perfect addressing grip, they leave the school, and now they're not being followed up with, and everything goes to crap.
Guys, just, I didn't want to take a whole lot of time on this, but I just wanted to explain this to you guys, because this is the time of year that we start cranking out schools. Right now, I think we're close to 60% full for the I guess it's late winter, spring, so basically through May, we're running just close to 60% full.
Thereabouts.
Okay, and so we got 40% of the spots open. There's still quite a few spots, but now's when people start thinking about travel and they want to get out of the winter cold months, they want to get ready for the spring golf. I always say really gets excited when Masters music hits the TV, but believe it or not, 2 weeks before Christmas, or a week before Christmas this year, I saw a Masters music commercial on TV. I was like, they're starting this earlier and earlier and earlier. So it used to be more February, now it's in December.
and Hawaii's coming up the first week of January.
Hawaii's here.
Like everyone gets excited.
Hawaii's here, so you guys start watching golf on TV. Hawaii's here, it's right now. So yeah, I mean, these next couple weeks is Hawaii. So anyway, but that's what's rolling. So guys, if you want to get into school, tell James, tell him how to get a hold of you, tell him what they need to do.
Schools@gravesgolf.com.
So schools@gravesgolf.com.
Yep, or jamesb@gravesgolf.com, or give us a call on the school phone, 405-250-6960.
Yeah, 405-250-6960. One of the guys will answer the call, take care of you guys. We'll take care of anything you need. Guys, get in ASAP. Let's get rocking on this thing. I mean, we're all traveling. I mean, literally, we're right in the middle of our downtime right now.
We've had a month off.
Yeah, we literally, well, James and I have had about two weeks off now, and 2.5 weeks off, and then we have another week off, and then we just roll, and it doesn't stop. And we're excited for it again this year, okay? We're very excited. Our facilities are phenomenal. Orlando, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, they're phenomenal facilities. I mean, they're the creme de la creme. And I promise you guys, and I know there's a lot of you guys right now, you guys that are on here right now that have gone to schools recently or been to schools, put in the comments, put in the chat what you think of them. Because remember, we got a lot of people on here. This is a public webinar. So we have a lot of people on there that have never been to school or considering it. Write in that chat. Tell them what you thought of the school. Be honest with them. Tell them what you thought. And if there's anything you think we should improve, put it on there too. Because we'll take it. Chris always monitors these things and so on. So anyway.
So do I. I got to figure out what we need to do better.
Yeah. So love it. All right. Thanks, bud.
All right, boss.
All right. Thanks. All right. All right. So I know that was a little bit, but I wanted to talk about schools because we were getting some questions on that, and it's that time of year that we always do it. So anyway, all right. So let's get into let's rock and roll on some questions tonight, and then we'll have a giveaway at the end. I think we'll have. Do we have a giveaway tonight? I'm looking at the guys. All right. Is just we'll get a slide made up for this thing. So all right. So. Well, I think we have about 10 to 12 questions tonight, so we'll get rocking on this. So let's go with the first one. All right. All right. Is the width of the feet smaller with irons than a driver? From Brian Carrier. Yes. Okay, Brian, we'll talk about that. And I'll explain that. We'll explain why. So if you look at the alignment ball position trainer, you look at the board, okay, you will see, and this tells it straight up, you will see that it has ball position for the iron and then ball position for the driver, okay? And then if you look at this, you'll see this is the width of a wedge. Your feet would be a wedge up until a 7 iron, then a 6-5 iron, and then 4-3 iron, even into the hybrids versus the driver, okay? So yes, the width of the stance for a driver is wider than it is for the irons. And it actually, as the irons get longer, the width gets wider, okay? But the interesting part of this, and that's why I'll kick it up a notch in this, is I'm going to back up just a little bit so I can get better in frame for you guys, okay? The interesting part of this is that, I'm going to get iron ball position here. So I'm going to set this down, okay? And I'm going to grab a yardstick for you guys. Okay. And I'm just going to mark this on the iron ball position. And guys, that's what the back of this is for, if you guys know this or not. But the back of the ABT is where you can put some yardstick in. Okay, you can just set it and put a yardstick and it fits right in there, okay? And you set up, and I'm going to mark that. Okay. Now, as I set up over this iron, and I have the width of a wedge, notice the ball position stays here, okay? And I have a wedge, so I'm just going to take this down. I'm going to choke down to basically where a wedge would be. So right now I'm setting up over right now this is a good set position for me for a wedge. As this club gets longer, okay, so length club gets longer, my width of my stance gets wider, and I get further from the golf ball. So I'm making up for the length of this club, so I'm gonna stand further from the golf ball, okay? And I'm gonna get wider. So right now I'll just go from where a wedge would be to now a little bit wider, a little bit further to basically where about a 9 iron would be. Okay, now a little bit further, a little bit wider, and that's where a 7 iron would be, okay? And then notice, as I start getting more and more, I keep going back more and more up until a longer iron. And then when I get to a fairway wood and or a long hybrid, okay? So if I get to a fairway wood and or a long hybrid, okay? I now move the ball up into the zone on the ABT. I get the appropriate width, which is wider, and then I get the appropriate distance to the golf ball. Now, driver ball position will be at DBP, which is driver ball position, okay? And there's another slot in here for that, okay? So there's driver ball position. So when I get up over the driver, okay, now I'm at my widest distance and my widest stance, okay? So now I'm on driver ball position, okay? Now, distance from the golf ball, driver's 36 inches from toe line to ball. 6 iron is 26 inches from toe line to ball. Other clubs are in between. So in other words, a 5 hybrid would be about 27 inches, okay? If you go on demand, Type in search engine, type in the search on the search bar, distance of the golf ball. You can pull up the charts we have about the distance of the golf ball, okay? So, but the reason we get wider, the sole reason is because as the club gets longer, you swing it faster. As you swing it faster, you got to create more stability in the lower body to maintain the balance of swinging that club faster, okay? So that's why we get wide in the stance. The last thing you'd want is to have a driver stance the width of your 7. You're going to limit your speed, okay? You're going to limit the speed. You're going to limit the balance of the body, which will inherently limit the speed, okay? So yes, the answer to the question is, as the club gets longer, the stance gets wider. But notice, it was interesting. The ball position maintained the same for all the irons. Okay, the ball position stayed the same. You just increased the width of the stance. As we started getting to the hybrids and the fairway woods, we went into the zone position. Okay, and as we got to the driver, we went in inside the lead heel. Okay, but I cannot stress enough, and that's why we talk about, guys, it's very self-explanatory on this alignment ball position trainer, and I assume every one of you has this out there. If you don't, you're really not part of the single plane community, let's just be honest. This is the end all. I mean, this is not the end all, but this is if you don't, this tells so much in here. And go on our website, graysgolf.com, go to training aids, go underneath it, and it tells you how to train with this. There's 3 or 4 videos that talk about training with this, and obviously there's 100 on demand. Basically, every video that's an on-demand that is a full swing instructional video, I promise you, we'll have this ABT down in the ground. We'll have this and we're using this, okay? That's just how critical it is. But this is very self-explanatory, and we'll teach you and remind you every time you use that. And you really do need to use this, okay? All right, let's go to the next question. All right. The motion from position 1 to position 2 feels very small. Is it basically picking up my hands about 2 inches? Okay, from Ron. All right. So let's talk about that. Okay, and I'll do it down the line of this. Okay? So, now, first of all, when I set up, and this is giving the understanding that you have a decent setup and you have a decent takeaway in the position from position 0 to position 1, okay? So now I go position 0 to position 1, okay? Now, position 1 to position 2, I continue to turn my hips, turn my shoulders. Now I cock and hinge my wrists and my hands, getting to position 2. But notice, if you're talking inches, obviously the club head is going way more than 8 inches as you're describing. But chances are you're describing the inches from where the hands are going from position 1 to position 2. Because if you measure that, that's relatively short. But that's what I'm going to attack first. 8 inches is not the golden standard or a standard saying everybody has to go 8 inches from position 1 to position 2. Going from position 1 to position 2 100% has to do with your flexibility. So some of you all will go position 1, position 2, and you'll be able to take it back a little bit further because you're a little bit more flexible. Some of you will not. Some of you will get here and you're tight and that's all you got and you've lost your flexibility, or you don't have as much flexibility, so you're going to lack the turn in the backswing, and that's fine, as long as you keep the club on plane. But it does feel from position 1, because when you're going to position 1, there's no cocking or hinging of the wrist. All there is turning the body, okay? Turning the hips and the shoulders to position 1. That's position 1, okay? I can even put a mark back here to show you this. So from position 0 to position 1, it's turning the hips and the shoulders. When we go from position 1 to position 2, we're now folding the trail arm, we're cocking and hinging the hands, and we're turning up with the continuation of the hip and shoulder turn. And I'm going to bring this up because we don't see it as much now. I'm going to get this here, walk off the screen, sorry. We don't see it as much now, but we used to see it a lot, and I think we don't see as much now because the instructors and myself included, we tend to highlight this because we see this in some problems, okay? But I want to make sure this is on screen, guys. Can you make sure it's on screen? All right, so yeah, okay. So I'm going to move up a little bit. I want to make sure that's on screen, okay? So when I get up here, okay, and this is what we do. We take the single plane position trainer. We set up, we go position 1, okay, and we make sure that it's touching the pivot point, Okay, so we go position 0 to position 1. We make sure the single plane position trainer is touching the pivot point and hasn't rolled across the body. Okay, we know that. But what we see when people go position 1 and they stop and they check it, now they go position 2, they stop turning their hips and shoulders. So they use it as a static position. So yes, we do want you to stop, go at times, position 1. Check it, make sure it's touching the pivot point, make sure you're pointing to position 1, that's perfect. Now, you go to position 2, you've got to continue the turn of the hips and shoulders. Because what we see is when people go static position 1, then they go to position 2, they stop the turn. So during that times, do this drill. Don't stop. Just do it really slow. Go position 1 through to position 2. Like you're mimicking your backswing, because obviously in a backswing of a golf swing, when you're out doing it in real life for hitting balls, you're not going to stop at position 1, I hope you don't. But at times, just go straight through. Go position 1, position 2. Do it again. Position 1, position 2. Keep doing it slow and don't stop at position 1 at times. Because the reason I bring that up, this is a very common question. It's a good question, it's a very common question. The reason I bring that up is because when you go from static and you statically stop at these positions. So if I do this again, and I'm trying to keep on frame for you guys, so I go back, go 5 feet back, 1 foot in, okay? Try to keep this on frame for you guys, okay. So when I set up and I go to position 1 here, okay, and I just stop and I hold this, and then I go to position 2. That's a good drill, but do it where you continue through that at times. Because too often we see position 1, they stop, then they just pick the club straight up, and that's where we got to start getting the feeling of, well, from position 1 to position 2, I just feel like I'm picking the club up. No, there's still a continuation of the hip and shoulder turn. And there's no true number to this. Trust me, there's no true number to this. But I will tell you right now, 75 to 80% of the turn occurs from 0 to 1, but there still is a percentage of turn in the hip and shoulders that occurs from 1 to 2. There's a continual movement. Now, the reason there's no number to that is because some people can't go quite as far back as others, okay, because of flexibility, but just understand, it still does turn, okay? So the next question. Okay. Hi, Tim. I often hit my irons a bit behind the ball. What can I do to avoid this consistency? Okay. Well, number one is, you hit behind the ball. There's a couple reasons. Number one is, and the chances are, and guys, and this is the issue, and I'm going to bring this up real quick. And I say this, but I'm going to say it again because it's just, I have to. It's like the addendum I have to say every time on this. Remember, when we do these webinars, the information we give you guys is the most common, what we assume is happening with you when you ask these questions. So the way I'm going to answer this question right now is what we see in most people, most common faults, and then we're going to try to give you a fix. It may not be guaranteed what's causing it for you, okay? The only way we can do that is if you send a video in to one of my coaches, and that coach will 100% guarantee you this is what you're doing and this is how you fix it. This is how you create that new habit. I hope everybody understands that. Because all you guys, we love the questions, and we want you to keep rolling these questions. And in fact, keep throwing them in the chat room right now. Chris is, I promise you, Chris is on there right now, and he's literally going in there and saying, okay, I'm going to write these down for the next one, write these down for the next ones, okay? That's what he's going to do. But to get the 100% personalized answer for you, we've got to see it on video, or we've got to see you in person. You just have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because guys, every one of these answers I'm giving you is the most common. But there could be 5 or 6 different things. And I'll give you an example here, okay? And this is a perfect example. So you're hitting behind the golf ball, okay? Well, chances are you're hitting behind the golf ball. The most common fault is you're taking the club to the top and you're casting the club in the downswing, okay? So you're casting the club. And when you cast the club and you release it early, the club is bottoming out on the ground before it hits the ball, okay? So those that do that typically take minimal divot, you lose distance, you tend to pull the ball and maybe slice the driver, okay? That's just some results that occur, okay? So you need to work on chipping drills. You need to work on the motion of hitting into a leverage bag. You need to work on the motion of getting those hands going forward. I mean, the perfect motion for you is back up the ball in the stance and work on chipping drills. Make sure those hands are leading, and when you get done, you still have shaft lean. Guys, golf is all about shaft lean. If you want to know the most important thing in golf, it's to maintain shaft lean for as long as you can through all your shots. Okay? And when you're watching the tournaments in Hawaii for the next couple of weeks, and also when you're watching these things on TV, watch every player out there. I don't care if it's PGA, LPGA champions, any scratch amateur player, any good amateur player, doesn't matter. The one common thing they will have is everybody has phenomenal shaft lean. And Mo Norman had some of the best ever of all time. Okay? It's shaft lean. And the second you cast the club, you lose shaft lean. And when you lose shaft lean, you're going to hit behind the ball, you're going to bottom it out and cause these issues. So number one fault of hitting behind it, I would say right now, is you're probably casting the club. So you've got to work on, why am I casting the club, okay? What's causing that issue? Here's number two, you can hit behind it, okay? If you have poor ball position, okay? So all of a sudden that ball gets too far forward in your stance. Okay, so for whatever reason, maybe your stance, your width is too wide, like we talked earlier, you know, you got too wide for whatever given iron or whatever club you are, or maybe the ball position is just too far forward. If it's too far forward, you'll bottom out behind the ball. And what you will instinctively do, or unintentionally do, I mean, this is subconscious, is you'll start trying to slide forward to get there. You'll start rocking forward to get there. Well, when you rock forward to get there, okay, it does some bad things in the golf swing. Number one, it gets your head moving forward, which moves your shoulders forward. So your shoulders rock forward, which pushes your head forward, which now gets the center of your basically the bottom of your impact sliding forward, which will now create either a fat shot or eventually lead to a shank. Okay? Those that tend to have to slide forward to get to the golf post, they slide the hips forward, they move the body forward. So they're sliding more than they're rotating. They will tend to shank it, or they'll fat it. And that's from poor ball position, okay? I'll give you a third one. It's very common for golfers with exceptionally or with weak grips, whether it's the lead hand or the trail hand, and they have a weak grip on the club, okay? And if they have a weak grip on the club, they will tend to, they can't hold leverage angles coming down, and they will tend to release the club early. Okay? Because a bad grip or a bad hold of the club will cause the club to cast out or throw out in the downswing, okay? And therefore you'll hit behind the golf ball, okay? So again, chances are you're casting the club. So work on any drill that will give you or gain shaft lean. I'll do a chipping drill, do a leverage bag drill, get those hands leading, okay? Watch ball position. Make sure it's not too far forward in your stance. Make sure your stance, your width of your stance isn't too wide. Check your grip. Again, guys, and again, I'm going to give you the most common on here, but if right now you took a video, sent to my coach, in a second they'd say, yep, your grip is too weak, you got to make sure, blah, 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 let's fix this, let's do this, and they'll solve that issue where you're making more solid impact, and here we go. All right, let's go to the next question. Can anyone explain transition? Seems like in throwing a ball. It's just like feeling or move you really can't teach or explain. I know it kills me, and I was a decent baseball player. Okay, Tom. Well, I mean, here's the deal. The reason you talk about throwing a baseball or any type of physical move, it could be a hockey player, it could be throwing a baseball, any type of move that you're trying to create speed, either with your hand throwing a ball or with a club hitting the ball or with a hockey stick hitting it, whatever it is, a physical move, you're talking about a sequence of the body, okay? And the sequence of the body is what we call the kinematic sequence. It's not what we call it, it's what everybody calls it, okay? And basically what the kinematic sequence is, and I'm going to do it with throwing a ball like you described, an overhand toss, is if I was going to throw a ball this direction and I didn't care about speed, I was just going to throw it, you'd watch me do this and just toss it, okay? Notice I just toss it. So nothing moved. Okay, nothing moved. Okay. Now, all of a sudden I care about creating some speed on this ball. So now I'm a pitcher, I'm a shortstop or whatever I am, or an outfielder catching the ball, and I'll create speed. So the first thing you're going to do with speed creation is you're going to widen the stance width. So like if I'm a pitcher, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to lift the leg, create the speed. Now I'm going to create the width of the stance. As I start creating that width, now my hips are starting to turn. So, and you guys, you watch baseball players, you watch those pitchers, they take that leg and they turn it back. And what are they doing? They're closing up those hips. And now they're going to fire those hips open. Well, the firing of those hips open is getting ahead of these shoulders. And it's getting significantly ahead of these shoulders. In fact, there's pitchers that can get 60, 70 degrees, those hips ahead of those shoulders. I mean, that's younger pitchers, and those guys are in really good shape. And that same thing professional golfers do. Well, now those hips get ahead of those shoulders. Now the shoulders follow. Well, those hips create speed. Now the shoulders are following, creating more speed. Now you create leverage, an angle of the elbow to the arm, okay? And now this leverage and angle follows the shoulders, which now creates more speed, and now you release that and throw the ball. So if I'm throwing with speed, I'm turning hard and throwing. Okay, I'm turning hard and I'm throwing. Okay, now, but the plane of that is an overhead plane. It could be serving a tennis ball. It could be throwing a baseball, okay? That's an overhead plane of a kinematic sequence. Now, obviously in golf, the golf ball isn't up here. The golf ball's down there. So I've got to create speed in my hands, in my arms, my hips, my shoulders, just like that golfer, that baseball player did, but my plane has to be low. So now my plane's got to be down here. So instead of the plane being up here, it's now down here. But it's exactly the same motion. So now I have an object in my hand that's going to hit this ball. So I'm not underhand tossing it, but I might as well think of it as put a ball in this hand, extend it out to the club head. Okay? It's like I'm underhand tossing in this direction. Okay. So now I take the club, I go to the top of the swing, I've turned my hips back. Just like I showed you in that picture, turning that hips back. I go to the top of the swing, I turn my hips back. So if you go to the top of your swing and you're not moving your hips, which is not moving your shoulders, you have already cost yourself so much speed. That'd be like a pitcher in a mountain just lifting the leg and throwing it. It'd be the same thing. If that pitcher doesn't turn those hips back, he's done. Okay, he's losing a ton of speed. Okay, it's the same thing here. So I'm turning back. So right now I'm that pitcher ready to fire it home. Now what you do is the first move you take is you fire the hips. So I fire the hips. In fact, in a golf swing, it'll be subconscious, just a movement, you will start those hips before the backswing's even completed. Okay? The arms follow the shoulders. Now you uncock and unhinge the wrist through impact. So the hands follow the arms and you release through impact. So it goes from hips to shoulders to arms to basically hands to club. And that's the kinematic sequence. So if you wanted to think about it with the ball, it'd be like having a ball and swinging it, throwing it underhand. So you turn back and you fire that ball underhand. It's the same thing. If I wanted to take this ball and create no speed, I'll just toss it underhand. There's no speed there. But I want to fire it underhand. I'm going to turn, I'm going to fire it underhand. It's the same thing. That's the motion of, now, we see, you guys, every time we say throwing a ball, okay, you guys are thinking overhand. How does that relate to underhand? It's the way the hips move. It's the way the shoulders move. It's the way the arms move. But understand, there's a sequence here. And the sequence goes from, and with the single plane swing, believe it or not, and we talk about this, it goes from lead knee. We fire the lead knee, because when we always ask Smo, what starts the downswing? He'd say, my lead knee, my lead knee. Feel that knee. He'd say his left knee, but he'd feel that knee fire. The knee fires, which what gets the hips going. The hips get ahead of the shoulders. Shoulders get ahead of the arms. So the shoulders ahead of the arms allows you to create leverage. That leverage now translates up to the club head. Well, the second we don't move those hips properly, we don't move the shoulders properly, we don't get them on plane, or we cast the club like we talked about earlier, that's all going to limit or lack the ability of you to create speed and to keep the club on plane. Okay? And that's why, and it's a phenomenal question, Tom, but that's why people say, we talk about skipping a rock underhand or tossing underhand or throwing a ball, but we're just looking to get that kinematic sequence in your body. Now, the issue is here. So you hear that, and it seems very technical, and it's, you know, it's been, people have talked about kinematic sequence now for years and years. But the issue is, especially with our demographic, is the body wants to do that. So Tom, you're saying I was a good baseball player. And guys, we hear this all the time. We love it. We love it. I was a great baseball player. I played baseball in college, or I played baseball. I was a really good baseball player. You know, or I was a great hockey player. You know, or I used to be able to play. I was incredible hard. I could serve that tennis ball, whatever it is. Okay, but when was that? Were you a great baseball player yesterday, last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago? Chances are you were a great baseball player in your teens, maybe your early 20s. You played college ball, maybe your mid-20s. You know, some of you guys, we teach a lot of professional baseball players, but that's typically over by the time they're 30. Okay? So you're a great baseball player. And you probably had incredible kinematic sequence, and the movement was unbelievable, and you fired those hips and fired those shoulders, and you got ahead of them. It was phenomenal. But you've lost that. You've lost the ability to do that over time. You've lost flexibility, you've lost endurance, you've lost, the body's lost that. So to relate that, so when we say it's like throwing a ball and say, yeah, I should be able to do this because I was a great baseball player, is your body the same? And we know that answer, okay? We know that answer. So the key is to work on the flexibility of the body. That's why we sit there. The golden bullet for you guys is to get your hip flexibility back. Not back, get some flexibility back in here. Get increase in flexibility. Get that shoulder flexibility going. Get that separation going again. Let your wrist flexibility, get this working. This will be dramatically help you guys to be able to hit and be able to get closer to hitting an appropriate kinematic sequence, which will then allow you to do what? Create more speed or create speed and keep the club on plane. All right. So next question. All right, please explain the trail hand grip of the full swing, okay? It appears to be strong and the left and right V's are not parallel. Yeah, they're not parallel. Well, so real quickly, I'll talk about the grip. When you put the hands on the club and you set up properly, the V that's formed between the thumb and the forefinger of the lead hand, okay, is that V is gonna point to basically between your name tag and the middle of your shirt. Okay, and that's its setup. So you look down, that V right here formed. And guys, I don't have a problem with you guys, or I suggest this, we even do it at the schools at times. Put a glove on and draw a Sharpie mark straight up and you can see it. Okay, and that V right here should point between the middle of your shirt and your name or the logo on the shirt, I mean the same zone. Okay, what you don't want to see is it going like this, going to the left shoulder, and or what you see more often is it gets too strong, goes to the right shoulder. Okay, or goes to the trail shoulder. That V goes to basically the middle of the body. On the trail hand, when you put a perfect trail hand grip on there, this V basically runs up to the trail arm. It runs up the shoulder, okay? So when you set up properly that V, so you don't want it under where it's pointing to the right or to, outside, right, to backwards, or you don't want it parallel. What you will see in conventional golfers is you see this. They put it on top of each other where they get the right V and the left V lined up. And typically what that is a weak trail hand grip and too strong of a lead hand grip. It's not what we want. Okay, it doesn't work for single plane. It's not recommended. Okay, so the lead hand, and here's the other issue, guys. If you get our grips in the club and you work with our training grip, it sets you perfect. Okay, that's the whole point of this. I mean, anytime you put a training grip in here and you grip it, I mean, you can't help but get it perfect on there. Notice, I'm gripping this club. There's got a flat top. I put my hand on it. I get my trail hand on, and I grip it. The V's are going to be perfect. You really can't mess this up. If I went to the left, I can't do it. And to the right, there's a knob down here that keeps it. So notice, I just set up in this club right here. I got this training grip in my hand. That puts the V's perfect. There's the V to the middle of the body. There's the V to the right shoulder. And swing and swing and swing. Because here's what happens. I've got to be able to take this grip, which is the ideal single plane grip. It allows me to square the face appropriately, create maximum speed, maximum leverage, okay, with this grip. Okay, we can get a lot more detail, but we won't today. But I've got to be able to do that and square up the club through impact. If I take this grip and for some reason it leaves it open or closes it up because of things I've done in the past or habits I've created, I'm going to rotate out of this grip. Well, you rotate away from this grip, you're going to build compensations in the swing. And most time compensations are holding on at impact and not letting pure release or letting the club work for you. And when that happens, we tend to lose speed, we can't get the club on plane, and so on. So the perfect grip is this. The V on the lead hand will go between the middle of your shirt and your name tag, right in that area. The V in the trail hand goes right up the right shoulder. And that's in a good ideal setup with a perfect grip. Guys, get a training grip on there. I will tell you right now, and I know myself, my brother, my staff, I can tell you right now, and you guys see when you come to our schools, we're hitting balls out there for you, we're just warming up, we're messing around. We warm up with these clubs. These are the perfect warm-up clubs. We train with these clubs. We warm down with these clubs. I go out and play around the golf and my grip starts feeling a little funky. I get down, I'm pounding balls with this grip when I'm done. Okay, that's just what we do, inside and out. All right, so the next question. All right, ulnar deviation and address, radial at the top and back to ulnar at impact, okay? Yes, so ulnar deviation, I can take this club again. What it is the deviation of the hand up versus down. So the ulna in your hand is the bones below, opposite of your thumb on the bottom part of your wrist. That's the ulna, okay? So why people ask this, and I'll show you, because people that bring up ulnar deviation, this is what typically happens. Again, guys, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to, because it's that important. I'm going to show you the common fault and why people typically bring this up, okay? It's because when you set up in a good single plane swing, your wrist on the top of your lead hand is flat. It is not bowed up, okay? the butt end of this club, this will line up with the trail part of the trail arm. So as you see down the line, this shaft is lining up with the bottom of my trail arm, okay? The bottom of the forearm. It's not above this. And most golfers that have issues and talk about ulnar deviation, what happens is they get up and they get their hands too high. And they get in the backswing, and you guys get your hands too high, you can feel this. Now I feel like my hands are in a very bad position and I can't cock and hinge appropriately. Okay, so we got to get it lined up properly with a leading wrist, the top of the wrist is flat. Now I take back to position 1. Now we call it cocking and hinging of the hands up, and we start hinging the hands up, and basically we get the ulnar deviation coming up to the top of the swing. Now I come down to position 3 and I release the club through back to that same point I started. What happens if people get too high? Now they go back and they have to basically release it lower. It doesn't work. So be very careful on your setup of getting those hands too high. When they get too high is the issue, okay? And I won't go into it now, but a lot of it has to do with grip issues. You've got to check your grip, check your grip, check your grip, okay? And make sure you got a good grip on the club, because that creates bad problems in the way you set up many, many times, okay? Got to continually check your grip. Let's go to the next question. I think, okay, I have this question right here. I use a 45-degree chipper. I often find an 8-iron is easier, but runs long. Okay, Pete. Yeah, I mean, the question is this. Number one, we teach multiple club approach, we teach chipping. Okay, we teach multiple club approach. Meaning that, guys, I want minimum fly, maximum roll. So if you got 10 feet to fly it on the green, then you got 50 feet to roll it. Most of you guys should be chipping with an 8-iron, maybe a 7-iron, okay? That's a great club to chip with. If you have like 30 feet to fly and 30 feet to roll, so it's like 50-50, the percentage of fly is 50% fly, 50% roll, you're probably gonna get up into your sandwich, maybe even your lob wedge in that, okay? Now, but accept that. When you take a 7-iron, an 8-iron, a 9-iron, you play that roll. But remember, the thing about chipping is, and this is where you become good at chipping, is when you minimize the fly and you maximize the roll. It's not hard to control a ball that's rolling, okay? That's friction on the green. What's hard is when you get it airborne. The longer the ball's in the air, the harder it is to control. And I want everybody to understand that. That's why our number one philosophy in golf and the short game is the PCP rule. Putt when you can, chip when you can't putt, pitch when you have to. And all you guys know that come to my short game school or watch my articles and been with this for years know we live by that rule. And so do the best players in the world. And you guys, watch it on TV. Watch the Hawaiian Open. This is a great one to watch if you're watching tournament golf right now. And I'll tell you why. Because you're going to watch these massive greens on some of these courses. These guys will just miss it right or left. And they're not flying to the hole and stopping it. They're just barely getting it on the green and letting it roll up there. And then they're playing it like a putt to the hole. And a lot of times they'll be putting off the green. So the key on this is use the club that's appropriate for the given shot. Okay, use multiple clubs in the bag, but minimize the fly, maximize the roll. The less you fly it, the more you roll it, the easier the shot is and the less room for error there is, okay? Always remember that. Let's go to the next question. All right. What's a good drill to stop pulling putts? Okay. Well, I'm like missing all my stuff today. It's like that's off the screen. So let's get a putter here. Well, I'll pull some here. So, do I have a putter here? Guys, see if you can find a putter here for me, would you? So let's, is there a putter in there? So, you got one? All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. So you said, guys, it's interesting, but do you think I come and prepare? This is the stuff, Chris and these guys throw this up on screen. I guess I should be a little more prepared than this, but okay. Pulling putts. Whether you use our arm lock putter, our lock and roll putter, whether you use a normal putt, most of the time they pull putts, and I'll show you why. You can practice this inside, okay? Is when you set up over a putt, okay, we're keeping the angle as long as possible. Trying to keep, as I said earlier, that shaft lean down the line. When you pull putts, it's typically because you set up over it and you flip the putter, okay? So you cast the putter. And I'll show you some here. I'll just give you the best drill for it. I'll give you the best drill in the world for it, okay? So when you set up, okay, and I've got, guys, if you haven't been working on this over the winter, no, everybody that has been's ahead of you. You guys know me. I'm always playing that game. I don't want to be behind anybody. I want to keep up with everybody or be ahead of everybody, and this is the game. These guys have been working on this for months over the winter, I promise you. Guys in the chat room right now, you can get on there and talk about it. How much you've been using Excalibur. Have you been using it over the winter? Okay. Get your Excalibur. Excalibur is the ultimate putting tool, indoor and outdoor. I use it indoor every day. Okay, so what we talk about, I just sent an article out in last month's newsletter that talked about 5 minutes of practice a day is worth more than an hour a week. Okay, an hour at one time. So in other words, instead of doing an hour once a week, do 5 minutes a day. And here's a perfect 5 minute a day drill right here. You set up over your Excalibur, set up over it, with or without a golf ball, set up, keep it going down the Excalibur. Match the lines in your putter to the top of the Excalibur. Go down that line, keep it square. Don't let the putter roll to the inside, okay? Because I'll give you down the line view. Because this is why people pull putts. They set up over it, and instead of keeping it down the line, so hands leading, hands down the line, hip check, as we talk about a million times, they will set up and they'll pull the putter inside. And they'll do it just a little bit, but they'll close the face down. And the second that face closes down, it's coming inside. It's going to be pulled. You're going to miss some left. And this is why, whether you're using an arm lock putter, a lock and roll putter, whether you're using traditional putter, doesn't matter. You've got to keep that putter down the line as long as possible. Keep that shaft lean as long as possible, okay? And that's the key. Because missed putts, pulled putts, 99% of the time is what? Is this. But here's the deal. And I'm going to make a call out. And I do this all the time, but you guys just don't listen to me. Most of you guys don't listen to me. Send in putting videos to my coach. Send them in. Putting is almost half of the game. It is the most important scoring part of the game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Send in some putting videos to the coach. Do it on the carpet. Do it on inside. It doesn't be outside. Do it on an Excalibur. Send it in. Okay? We'll see. We'll tell you in a second. I'll tell you in a second why you're pulling your putts. We'll tell you in a second. It's huge. Okay? But get the Excalibur out. And if you haven't done it all winter, let's get a rocking all winter. Let's cannot stress that enough. All right. We got more questions?
What's more?
What's that? Did we have one on the grip? I'm checking one more time. Do we have one on the grip? Right there. That one right there. And Randy, and I remember somebody told me about this question, so I want to bring this up real quick because I kind of beat around on this last one. Then we'll go into the winner for tonight. All right. Does the grip go under the heel pad of the lead hand and the fingers directly in the center of the thumb pad, running diagonal across the lead hand? Randy. Okay, Randy, I'm going to answer this question because it actually has an issue to do with ulnar deviation, okay? And that's why I didn't go real depth of the grip. And I'm going to bring this up real quick, and I'm going to get Mason to zoom in on me, okay? This is a big issue right here with our golfers or golfers that, especially with guys who get grips that are too big for them. Remember, when we build a grip for you, we're building it for your hand size. If you have any issues like arthritis or anything in your hands, we're going to add a few wraps under there, but we're building a grip to your hand size. And what building a grip to your hand size allows you to do is get in the perfect positions to the hand, which allows you to get the ideal swing, ideal leverage, ideal speed, and so on. Okay, but notice, as I have this grip ahead of me, and you guys can all do this at home, this is my lead hand. For my right hand, this is my left hand. For left hand, this will be right hand. As I hold this club in front of me, it's tucked underneath the heel pad of the lead hand. And I think you see that. It is not above the heel pad or on top of the heel pad. And that's a very common mistake we see with golfers, especially single plane golfers, is they get this club riding too up in the hand. This must be tucked underneath the heel pad of your lead hand. This tucking under the heel pad allows for you to create the ideal setup in the flat part of the hand on the top. Okay? If I go down this way, the flat part of the hand. If it gets too high, what ends up happening is golfers start lifting the club too high, which then hinders the ulnar deviation or creates improper ulnar deviation in the backswing because of the improper grip. And this is the number one reason why. It's because of, well, I'll say number one, I'll give you 1A here, because of improper grip. So just on the lead hand, all I want you to do is make sure it's tucked under the heel pad, and then there's pressure, okay, on these two fingers, which is keeping it tucked underneath the heel pad, okay? And that's the key on the lead hand. Make sure it does not ride above or get on top of that heel pad. That heel pad on the top, you guys, you should be able to put the club in front of you, wave it up and down, nice and soft, nice and easy. Under that heel pad, that's what controls the club and creates the speed, okay? Now, here's the last thing I'm going to bring up because I wanted to talk about this tonight. This kind of walked into it. And then I'm going to go into the winner for tonight. We did a short game school about a month ago, actually right at a month ago now. We did a short game school out in Phoenix. It was phenomenal, okay? It was our last school of the year. And One of the things we do in our short game schools, we have we call it an aim point express session. We teach green reading, and we do aim point express. And anybody in the comments out there right now that's in the chats that you've been to short game school at the aim point express, talk about it. Tell the guys what you thought of it, okay? But anyway, we do aim point express. And part of aim point is you get behind the putt, you get down the line, you get in certain positions, and you hold up the hands, okay? And you hold up the number of fingers for the slope and different things. I mean, I can't trend this on video, but I'm bringing this up for a reason. And you hold up the hands and you do the aim point. So if I was facing you, I literally do this, maybe 1, maybe 2, and so on, okay? But the thing I've seen now doing a few of these short game schools, actually quite a few, is the inability or the difficulty a lot of golfers that we teach have even be able to hold up their hands like this. Notice, and all I'm doing right now is lifting the wrist up and putting the number of fingers down with my hands, okay? And what happens is they lift up their hands and it's about here. They can't even get their fingers past this position. So if I'm getting mine up at maybe, 60 degrees, 90 to be straight up, 60 degrees, they're lucky to get 15 or 20 degrees, not even that. Now, we work out and we help them with a little bit of elbow band, and there's ways I can work around that. But the thing I noticed is if you can't get your hand up in the air, I'm not thinking about the difficulty using aim point, which we can work around it. I'm thinking about the difficulty in the golf swing. Because this is the angle you're creating in the backswing. Guys, that's the angle you're creating in the backswing, okay? That's the, I'm gonna go right here on the camera, that's the angle. So if you don't have this angle, you're not, forget ulnar deviation, forget trying to not cast the club. You're gonna have incredible difficulty cocking and hinging the wrist in the proper position in position 2. So I want you guys to walk away right now, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to do wrist flexibility exercises, okay? And Chris has talked about this in the winter training, or we'll be talking about this in the winter training. I'm not sure what session you guys are on. But guys, wrist flexibility exercises. Do the praying one. So start up here, keep the palms together, the fingers together, and bring it down as far as you can, keeping those palms together across the body. Now, when you get here, roll it forward as far as you can, okay? And then roll it back. And then come back up and do it again. Okay, you guys can do wall walks, you can do wrist flexibility, you can sit here and do this. I do this continually. Do this sitting at your desk, do this in the car. Go down further. Don't let the palms come across, go further down. Guys, that flexibility of the wrists is critical for speed control, for control, accuracy, hinging the club, all this. And I promise you, when people are calling me up talking the ulnar deviation or talking about difficulty in position 2 or casting the club, a majority of the time, a high majority of the time, it's from wrist flexibility issues. I promise you this, okay? Because I'm not saying it's shocking, because I'm starting to see it now, and it's very good that I see this and my staff sees this, but even trying to lift the wrist up just to do the aim point with us is very difficult for a lot of our students. And probably it's a majority versus a minority. Yes, we have ways to work around it. We're doing aim point. Trust me, it's like, yes, you can still do it, but I think more about the full swing and how the hindrance of the full swing and hitting the proper positions within proper wrist flexibility. And guys, it's not like you can do this. We just need a little bit more. Just remember, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 7, okay? There's a lot of people a lot more flexible than I am, and maybe you're at a 3. Well, just getting a 4 is better than a 3. Heck, a 3.5 is better than a 3. Just a little bit more flexible will do wonders for your swing. And I promise you, for your speed, for your accuracy, your control, getting the club on plane is massive. If you had to ask me right now, then I'm going to go to the winner right here. If you said 2 areas, now give me 3, but 2 areas that are the critical for flexibility that our demographic tends to miss, but that are critical for flexibility in the golf swing. Number 1, I'm going to hammer on the hips. You guys know that. Number 2 is the wrists. No question. Number 3 is going to be the shoulders, okay? It's going to go from hips to shoulders to wrists. No question about it. And I'll tell you right now, the wrists are all about speed. It's all about speed in those wrists, okay? So I just want to throw that out because I know a lot of those questions we had tonight. And I always say, guys, the winter training, you guys have been sending videos into Chris to look at your different flexibility issues, and if you're flexible enough, and Chris has been sending you back exercises personally, and always got in hundreds of these already. Heck, the first week he got like 50 in, just the first week alone. So guys, send in flexibility things to my coaches. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to just have you come to school and me go, whoa, I can't believe you can't do that. And you're like, I can't believe nobody ever told me that. No. Send this into the coaches. We'll help you. We'll give you some exercises. It's not a big deal. Just they're fun. Things you can do at your desk. Okay? All right. Well, I want to go over the winner tonight, and I've actually got it now. That's cool. I actually got it. But first, I want to thank you guys for joining us. I want to welcome you guys. I want to thank, hope you guys, Happy New Year to you guys. I know we're a few days into it already. But I want to thank you guys for being part of Gray's Golf. Remember, number one, get into one of those schools, okay? If you want to get in as early as you can, get into school. They will sell out. Number two, if you're interested in any of the product, okay, you're interested in any of the new Callaway Elite that's coming out, and you guys are going to start seeing the airways full of it, especially now that the terms have started, the PGA, you're going to start seeing this stuff. And yes, it is that good. Yes, it is in the player's bag. When you watch those players out there, they're hitting these same drivers. That's what they're hitting, okay? But if you're interested in any of the new Callaway Elite product, drivers, hybrids, fairway woods, irons, anything, or you're looking at wedges, putters, email me at timg@graysgolf.com. And always remember, any questions, any comments, anything you need, you just get lost. You're saying, I want to know this. I just want to start a dialogue. I want to know if a membership's good for me or not. Email me at timg@graysgolf.com. I'll either answer it myself or shoot it to the right person. And we'll get back to you within a few hours. Trust me, we will. Okay? Okay, so anyway, so I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight, and let's go over the winner of the new Callaway Elite. Driver winner is Jeremy Williams from Dallas, Pennsylvania. I didn't mess that one up. I would have said Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Pennsylvania. So Jeremy Williams, so right here. Obviously, Jeremy, it'll be built to you for length, line angle, shaft flex, grip size, the whole jazz. We'll get that taken care of, okay? And then last thing I'll throw up here, and we're good, is just remember, new year, I love to say this, but new year, new game. And I think we got to slide that. Yeah, so Premier School membership is what James talked about earlier. We can guys get you in for a great deal. Look, you're already saving $600 or more. And remember, it's all about day 4, day 5, day 10, day 20, day 30. Guys, it's all about continuing great golf or improving every single day, okay? So guys, anyway, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me tonight. We'll talk to you guys real soon.